appreciate you all coming in here today. Usually at this point in the clinic, we're all thinking about beer on our mind, right? You know, so, but this will be good. This will be interactive. Guys, ask any question you want about anything, technique, scheme, all that we're doing. Real quick, how many of you guys run power? Okay. How many of you guys are running it with like 11, 12 personnel? Okay. How many guys don't run it because you don't have like a good tight end fullback situation? Anybody in here? Okay, good. But I got some stuff with heavier sets, but I also put in some power read stuff that we do, some of cool things that we do in case guys don't really have tight ends that they like to use or they're not very confident with. But for us up front at Bryant, we're Division I level school in Rhode Island. It starts with power. That's what we do. Kind of gonna go through some fundamental stuff first. Not really used to having a mic, so bear with me on that. For us, everything starts with a stance in the run game. And I'm gonna go through some of this quick so we can get to the film. Got a lot of it I want to kind of show you guys and let you guys ask questions on it. But when we talk about a run stance for our guards and all of our guys, it starts with powerful base. You know, for us, we go out with 2-point stance all the time. It is as simple as if you want to go out with 3, you just drop that hand right down. That's kind of how I teach it. So we're in a 2-point so we can see safeties, so we can see a lot of movement. We talk about being condensed and powerful. We don't talk about playing lower, we talk about sinking more. Because the biggest thing that I've seen over the years is when I coach guys to play lower, the first thing they do is this. And they think they got lower, but their hips are still high. So we talk about just sink down, condense yourself, create a more powerful base that you want to be in. And our hands are always in attack position. Same thing with the center. We just coach the offhand being up, just being ready to strike with it, eyes up again. And then with the tackles, again, always in a 2-point, butt down, third leg. With the tackles, I allow them to be a little more relaxed with the hands. They don't have to have them holstered. We try to make our tackle stance, you know, for these guys, it never has to look any different than their pass stance. And then just kind of, again, going through fundamentals. When we talk about bend, we talk about 4 levels of bend. And this is a big thing that in the off season that I really evaluate with all my guys watching the film and then watching them when they lift. Okay, how do they bend in their hips, their knees, their ankles? And the new one for me is the back. Okay, when I talk about back bend, when you see a guy get down a stance, whether it's 3-point or 2-point, I like to look and see, like, are my guys hunched? Like, is the back rolling up? Is there some type of stiffness with that? And that's been a big thing that I've learned, that when you correct that, it really starts to help the hips, it starts to help other parts of the body. And then when it comes to drilling and stuff, I'll show you the drill video for the scheme. My philosophy is very simple with it. Okay, I learned this from my mentor, Coach Mobridge, down at the University of South Florida. It starts with feet before hands. We won't strike anything for the first couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks in the off seasons. It's just about getting in the stance, walking through stuff, getting used to moving the body to get in position to strike. We'll progress to using hands in individual work. From then we'll work into combo drills with each other, and then we'll finish up going into spring ball or going into fall camp with half line, full group stuff. Okay, kind of going along that same line. We're going to practice what we rep on game day. If we're not running power one week, we're not going to practice a lot of gaps with double teams. Like EDDs are important. But there's some things schematically that take precedent over that at times, and we try to hone in and focus on that. And then cross-training our techniques as much as possible. As much as our gap and zone schemes can vary, the better we'll be. When it comes to the combos, we always want to have a high knee mentality. So like this position you see in all these pictures, we want to have it where the postman, the double, the guy who's engaging, lifting the defender up, or rocket back on zone. We always talk about having that high knee and creating that mentality, being rooted in the ground with that. And then lastly, when it comes to the double team stuff, whether you use a flipper or hand, and we'll talk more about that. With gap scheme, mentality-wise, for our guys and for everyone ever coach, it's an attitude. It's our 4 eyes, our 4 feet, our 4 hands versus their 2. We're getting movement on that down line. We're knocking that guy out of the gap. We're not focused on getting to the second level. We will sacrifice getting to a second level guy in order to knock a guy 2 gaps over. And that's a thing that you have to live on. The guy who's covered, The postman, the double, the mentality we have is there's a lifter and a driver. So if I'm the right guard, it's power right, I have a 3 technique or reduce blocking. My mentality is I have to lift that dude's pads up so that the tackle who's coming down can drive it to me or drive it over to the gap on his way to second level. So we always talk about being in tandem with each other with that. And then we have 4 types, the ace, deuce, trey, and the quad, and we'll go through those. And so getting into the technique of our double teams to the gap scheme, the first one that we do is trigger lead. Again, this is just first step for the cover guy. He's trying to lift the pads up, the defender in front of him. You can use either a forearm or a hand. What I found is the forearm, to me the forearm is way more powerful, but the hand allows you to work and grab guys a lot easier. I try to leave it up to my guys. What I do is I teach both usually, going into the off season. For the incoming freshmen, I teach both the first couple days of camp. And I tell them what, by practice 4, what you get comfortable with, you lock into that season doing. So by practice 4, some guys are going to say, Coach, I'm more comfortable coming up with the hand and lifting than I am striking forearm. Good. Lock in, and that's what you're going to use that year. So we'll coach that with that. And my mentality is I'm a lifter. So again, drilling it, when you look at it, we use the crowler quite a bit for this. If you don't have a crowler, you can use anything. Guy holding a bag, guy holding a net ball, it doesn't matter. But our mentality is this, I love this clip because there's 2 different aspects of this. Mike here, my left tackle, has doing a much better job than Big Brett. We talk about having as minimal wasted movement as possible. First step, we are slammed in the ground. Second step, we are driving straight through the crotch of the defender. So when you look at the wasted movement, I would tell Mike the wasted movement for him is his hand going outside framework of body. That's time where a D-lineman could grab my chest, my pec area, and take control of my body. For Brett, it's way too big of a first step. His hips are popping straight up. His second step really isn't going vertical at all. And again, he's giving up his chest. So these are just little things that I like. I give one of our injured players a cell phone so he can film this. But we want to get these feet into the ground as quick as possible and just start driving our feet. We'll also adjust the location of the sled. So if we're playing a team that lines up in tight 4 eyes or a credit card alignment off the ball, I'll tell those guys, we'll move up as close as possible to the sled. If we're playing a team that's a little off the ball, we'll adjust our path. Again, just trying to make it as realistic as possible for those guys to see. But again, good job. Just pick up, put down, slam that foot, get vertical, and then once we have that high knee, just drive it. Really good look here again by Mike. So again, quick pickup step. Second step, just drive straight vertical. And the big coaching point we talk about when you're making contact with this is 3 points of contact. Your knee, your forearm, and your shoulder should all be involved in the block. That surface area that you're putting on that defender is allowing you to get your hips underneath you, and it's also allowing you to not absorb everything in one aspect. If I'm hitting everything with my forearm and my hips are away, my knees not involved, my shoulder arms are back, that's a lot of pressure I'm putting on my forearm. I don't have a lot of power with that. So we talk about pick up that foot, slam it, and roll everything through at once. And then just adding in, we'll just add a guy to this at the second level. Couple examples of it. When you look at the right guard here, Mike, this is a good example of a quick trigger lead. Picks up that first step, just slams him immediately in the ground. Second step is vertical. And he's a big forearm guy. So again, his mentality, all he's thinking about right now is I'm lifting the pads up of this guy and running my feet. I'm making it easy for that tackle to get a fit position on this to drive down the double team. So good job by him, and then getting to the second level. We'll talk more about kind of second level blocks in a second. So that's the test the RPO again, Same thing here. Here it is, we're running counter, it's not power. But when you look at the right guard, again, he's got a tight 3. So again, mentality for him is I need to get my feet into the ground as quick as possible. When we're playing a team that is super tight to the line of scrimmage, or if we're playing a team where there's 3, how many guys like have a D lineman on their team that just jumps the snap count every time? Like he's really good at it, right? And you can't even run the damn play in practice. We got one of those guys. I tell those guys literally, don't even step. Don't go anywhere with that step. So as quick as you can, brace to get that second step forward. All right? And so this is a good example of that with Jermichael. This kid was a really good player for Wagner. He's just slamming that foot as quick as possible. He was a big hand guy, so he would come through the form and lift with the hand. And again, he's lifting his pads to allow the tackle to knock it to him, and then create a good seam there for the running back. And then for the other man in the gap scheme fundamentals, the mover. Any questions so far, coaches? Yes, go ahead. We want to go straight middle of the breast, underneath the breastplate. I don't tell them to aim for the near one, because if I do, I feel like they miss it, it's in the shoulder. So we try to get as thick as possible right through the middle part. Good question. For the mover, there's two techniques that we teach. There's a gallop technique, high knee mentality. We'll load the weight up, again, push it off the instep of our feet, and we're just gonna high knee our way down. Again, same thing, 3 points of contact. We're going to strike with the knee, the forearm, and the shoulder. And then the other technique we use is the angle drive. Okay, got this one a little bit in our league. The DNs are really heavy skill teams. Our D-line coach, Coach Goodwin, does a phenomenal job of whenever he sees tackle down, those guys go and just crush the hip. And I found we were never getting to our blocks. We're getting a second level. So kind of just studying some other people. Came across probably the best team in the country running gap scheme in North Dakota State. And a lot of times what you see their tackles do is like outside zone. They're sprinting down and crushing that hip. And so studying that, so we call it angle drive. So it is an open drop step, sprint, 3 points of contact still. Again, we're trying to get that forearm. If we can get that high knee up, great on that third step. Okay, well that second step, depending on where we're at. But we are running off the ball. It is what we call an out-of-control block. We are trying to hit this thing as fast and as violent as possible. And when we do this, we're not worried at all about getting a second level. Okay, we will get there when we get there. But the goal of this is to get away from that skilled defender as quick as possible to clear that picture up for the tight end and for the fullback. So, show you a couple examples of it. So, how we work gallops. Again, you can do this with guys holding the med ball. I don't think anything truly replicates the feel of just hitting another man as a D lineman. So we'll do this about 1 day a week. Other times we'll have them hold a bag, protect the body. But the guys' feedback from them has been that they love us. So again, we're lowering our weight up off that back foot. We're galloping down, knee, forearm, shoulder. And then aim and point for the hand. We want to hit that IT band below the hip. You tell them to hit that, they're going to hit the hip. You tell them to hit the hip, just my experience, they're going to hit the rib cage. I used to tell them to hit the rib cage, and they're hitting the damn shoulder. And it's like a D-line pop-up. They're hitting them, they're coming back up. We want to hit as low into the body as possible. And again, we'll just rep this. It's simple. We'll just get guys on sleds. Again, we get the work done. He's bracing for this. None of them like when this guy hits them. He's 370 pounds, so it's a little bit of a not happy day. Good look here on the ace block with the center. So again, just galloping, 3 down front, they're taking the ace back. Does a good job of just coming through. Probably could take one more step. The death of this block to me when you gallop is when you reach and kind of fall over it. You're just not powerful enough. Like when in doubt, take one more step. It's a great job by Mike, just knocking the 0 nose. And again, we don't get to the linebacker, and our success rate on ace blocks of getting to the linebacker wasn't great. But what we loved about it, and again, this is just a mentality, I want this guy knowing that the entire game he's getting nailed on the side. That he's constantly getting hit, that he's getting moved out of that A gap. And then we'll fix all the rest off of that. Just another look at it here. Again, just going down. I'd love to see him again. You kind of see one more step. He kind of maintains that high demeanor. The other hand doesn't get involved as much, being square. So. And then other times where I love the gallop, if you're playing teams that move a lot. Like Brown University, they're a rival. They're over in the Ivy League, but 2 schools, there's a lot of bad blood between them. So it's like a big game. And so with them, there's not 9 times out of 10 they're moving, they're twisting, they're stumbling. So when we do this, we'll go into the game with a gallop mentality, but it's more so, hey guys, just be patient. Let it sort itself out. It's a great job again by Draco. The tackle just galloping, he hits it, and then just hewing this out. And then also just the collective movement. A great example here of just being patient. You know, you look at this from the wide shot. There's overhang over top here. So Mike here, you know, again, just being a savvy player, he knows when Sam comes, this guy's going to come. Pulling guard does a bad job. Let's throw the RPO. Okay. But again, just the savviness of it. So there's two uses to the gallop. It allows you to stay square, be powerful, kind of be more in control, get in the second level, but it also is great against movement sets. And then with the angle drive, again, this is when we play teams that line up with 5 techniques that are heavy hip crushers. When we play against teams that we know are trying to take away our ability to run gap speed, we're going to run off the ball. So again, aiming point is still the same. We want to try to get, if it's a 2-step hit, we want to try to get this second step as close as possible to this. The aiming point of this, again, his hand should be lower here, Trevor. My eyes want to target right at the hip. I want to see through the hip. And again, we call this an out of control block. Like we're trying to sprint off the football and crush that hip as our aiming point. Load on our instep, again, drive off this foot, catch with this foot right here. This is a good job by Trevor right here of making contact. Again, eyes right in that hip, hand right here. Shove it through. Mike here is a little bit too toey for me. Does a great job with his hands in terms of the aiming point. Good job shoving over. Again, as we progress with these drills, we'll just add a linebacker scraping over and different things like that. Another good look at it. Again, his footwork isn't great. He had a high angle sprint, so he was on his toes quite a bit for the year, which for whatever reason I would think that would hurt him more, but it didn't. But great aim point, great location, great strike point. And then seeing it live, again, left tackle. So again, with Duquesne, you know, with them, they played 2 types of techniques. When they were tighter, they were squeezing us, they were crushing that hip. When they were looser, they weren't. So he kind of met, again, he's fine doing this here. I was totally fine rather than him having to think about it. He's thinking right now, I'm just going to go crush that hip. So again, he's running off the ball. We're not worried about getting to the linebacker. The mentality is that, again, lifter by the guard, driver by tackle. Okay? And again, not a great hit by the back. They were great, though. They did a great year for us. But this is one I wish I could have back. But again, aim and point, awesome. I'd like to see the hand be a little bit lower. Eyes can be a little bit lower to the hip. But again, we are running and sprinting to destroy that hip. Good job by the guard. Any questions on that?
Coach, with the angle drive and the gallop, is that aiming point the same thing? You're still trying to hit that same spot below the hip with both techniques?
Yes. Absolutely. Is that you, Coach Timmer?
That's me.
Good to see you, brother.
You too, brother.
Coach, I was just going to ask you, so you only gallop based off of the team moving, and then if it's an ace block?
So initially, that again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier with the hand versus the flipper. What I've found is some guys naturally get way more comfortable with one. So if we're going against a team that they're going to crush the hip, we're all angle driving. We're going to angle drive because we're not going to allow them to put hands on our hip. Again, the mentality is whether it's power for the fullback kicking that out or if it's counter for our guard, we're going to create that picture as clear as possible. Teams that don't do that, some of the guys just love the nature of running off the ball and hitting like that, so I allow them to angle drive all the time. So once they get used to one, if they're confident, they're allowed to do it.
I got you.
Good. Anyone else? Again, just kind of with the pull techniques. Open pull we use mostly in our counter game, but also some power stuff. And then signal pull. How many guys are running RPOs off of their gap scheme? Okay. So I'm going to pick your guys' brain about that for the guys going to social after. I'll tell you kind of why we do the sickle. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. When do we open pull on power? When we get a long call, which we'll talk a little more in the scheme. We want to sprint through contact, but right before contact, we just want to sink and dip and then finish exploding through. So a lot of times you'll see these guys like these are not good reps. One things I like to do in clinics is put good and bad reps, because if you watch our film, that's what you're going to see. So again, like, I like to see both guys right here sink down right before contact, and they don't. Again, same thing here at Mike. I'd like to see him just sink a little bit more. In terms of the strike point, like Trevor's doing a better job, like right there, he's trying to dip. Again, I allow guys to use either the forearm or the hands when it comes to open pull. Some guys, I don't like to peg guys into one way or the other. If they're good at striking with their hands, let them use their hands. Like Brett, he's a little high here, but he's much more comfortable hitting with his hands. Trevor's more comfortable with hitting with his arm. So, from an aiming point of the open pull, what I tell the guards is, and I stole this from a good friend of mine a couple years ago, I used to say, right, pull, how many guys say pull tight off the double team or pull tight off the tackle's butt? Aiming point that helped us a lot was, I tell them, aim for the tackle's inside hip. So when you pull, and I got that from Brendan Walsh, the line coach at Colgate University a couple years ago, and it's helped our guys. We still got a lot of work to do on it. But when we pull, we want to aim for like the 6. We want to aim for that hip right there and get that tight in the line. Okay? We tell our guys, it's, okay, when it comes to the question I always get asked is like, what do you tell guys for a spill? We tell our guys, you can't get spilled. Here's the truth of it. It's going to happen. But if you pull, the tighter you pull into the line of scrimmage, and if you watch our counter film, which is probably our best play in powers the next, when you watch our film, when people spill us, it's usually about a half yard to a yard on their side of the line of scrimmage because of how tight we're pulling into our own line of scrimmage. So that defender is seeing us go vertical into our line of scrimmage, so he's trying to match what we're doing rather than go vertical. So that's a big coaching point for us. But again, you can kind of see the mentality here of the angle drive. I'd like to see Mike just hit this lower. I'd like to see the guard be lower. But again, we're trying to lift this. Mike's trying to bang this to him, so I'm not talking about that right here. It's good to see. Carlos has got to either take this or he's got to lift this up and come off. But in this case right here, the two of them are kind of fighting against each other. The initial movement is great, but the finish is poor. Good tight pull by Brad, just like to see him get a little bit lower. Same thing here. Just again, 3 points of contact still when we pull. We want to try to have that same mentality. Like to see him just sink right before contact a little bit more, but again, he's a hand puller, and he likes to strike with. Okay, sickle pulls. How many guys skip pull and power? Okay, and you're going to see some of us doing that from a couple years ago in some of the clips. One of the best studies that I did during COVID, we didn't play during the fall, we played in the spring, so all fall I was just sitting there every weekend watching college football, and I realized I don't think I want to retire anytime soon because I was bored out of my mind. I'm playing football on Saturdays. I watched Kent State in the MAC, and they're such a big RPO gap team like we are, and I was watching what their guards were doing, so I can't take credit for this. And all it is it's a shuffle. So if I'm a right guard, I'm down my stance, I'm just going to drop my inside foot, and I'm literally going to shuffle down the line of scrimmage, and the second I see a hole, I'm planting north and going. And the reason behind this, it's a little bit slower. What we found when we were studying it and just kind of talking to some people I knew, and then just doing it ourselves, is it directly mirrors up with our RPO mesh. Very similar kind of what Wake Forest does with the zone, but with us it's just gap scheme. So it marries up directly with what we're doing RPO-wise. So it is a square pull. We're just going to drop our inside foot. We're going to shuffle down the line of scrimmage. Just being patient. We're just, the second we're scraping off the double team where we see a hole, we're playing vertical, we're getting going. So again, just a good look at it for both these guys. So it's flat, it's patient. How deep you drop is all based on the type of team we're playing. If we know we're playing a team that's straight vertical penetration, we're going to drop that inside foot a little bit deeper. If we're playing a team that is more match technique, we don't have to drop as deep. And then the biggest coaching point, and this is a study we did, again, just watching us do power, is we drill it into these guys' head. We're nowhere near where we need to be with it yet. Even though this play last year we averaged about 6 yards, we cannot get spilled by the plus defender who we're pulling for. The biggest success that you can have, running this, and we'll talk again, we're going to talk more on the scheme stuff in a second. is not allowing him to send it to the extra fitter. And one of the questions guys ask is, well, doesn't your RPO handle him? When you make him have to make a tackle in here rather than out here, he can no longer play both. He can't pad his feet, he can't be patient, he has to declare one way or the other, and that's a big thing. So we really drill home the point to our guards that when they come down to meet you, you've got to hit this thing inside out. And this is a great job by Jamichael again. He's a 2-for-1 special here. He gets the safety and the linebacker. It's one of my favorite plays of the year. Again, good drive by the tackle, really good lift initially, a little late off the ball. But Carlos does a good job just lifting his pads, Mike's driving it. And for us, we're going to talk kind of schematics of this. We're trying to cram power. Our aiming point on power is inside leg of the guard. We're trying to hit it here and let it go to B. We're not A to A like North Dakota State, some of those teams. We're not there yet. Eventually, that's the goal for us. We're just not powerful enough yet for that. But what we are is we're inside leg guard to B. And so we're trying to cram it in there past the opposite fit. Oh, I saw a question. Good. Okay. Any questions about the technique? I'm going to kind of get into the scheme stuff. Coach, what time do I have till 30 after?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay. Just kind of clean talk, building run game. How many schemes can we install? For us, we have 4 schemes that we say we want to master. Okay, and that's power, that's counter, that's GY and GH. GY and GT, and then inside zone, and then wide zone is kind of our complementary play. Okay. We're actually going to add a 5th one this year as an alternate. And again, what do we build for up front? For us at Bryant, it's 11-12 personnel. We got very good tight ends. If you've got D linemen that are athletic, but probably not D linemen in college, if you've got quarterbacks that are tall and kind of have a big ass, send them to us, even if you don't think they're a D1 quarterback. We love recruiting big bodies, converting them to tight end. We've had a lot of success with it. Not just at Bryant, but other places I've been. That's kind of what we look for. What we do is we like to install a lot in the spring off of these. Like read, slice, cut off, read, bash off action off of our gap scheme, and kind of see what we're good at, and then hone that over the summer and hone that in the fall camp, and kind of focus on that. Again, formations. How many of our base runs can we run? Do we have a numbers advantage to the field? What play action passes can we use? If we feel we can't run a base run, is there adjustment, whether it's RPO or quarterback read? Do we even run to the strength of the formation, to the weak side to complement each other? And we start in 11 personnel, then 12, and then we work our way back. We'll always go to heavy sets before 10 personnel. Okay, talking power. It's an attitude thing. It's a pride point. We will find every different way we can to run power. It fits us. We're not super athletic up front. We are big. We are strong. Not as strong as we need to be for Division I. We're still working on that. But we are very big, weight-wise, and do a good job with that. The nature of this play forces defenses to play you downhill, which opens your RPO. We never tell the O-line it's an RPO. I don't know how it is in high school. In college, the man downfield is almost non-existent. Except for this one ref in our old league who I'm grateful I'll never see again, hopefully. But that was only twice last year. Their mind says the ball's always getting handed off. And then we'll build a different family of power. We'll run power, we'll run power read, we'll run Q power read, which is kind of like zone read, except we'll read the backside, which I have a few clips of that. And we just kind of build it. So we find a way to run this every week. Evolution of the play for us, pretty simple. Originally, this was a B gap to C gap play for us. We taught skip plays. What we found was the wider our aiming point, the more time the extra defender, whether it's the safety or the outside linebacker, was able to play both the RPO and the run. He could really just sit there and not have to stress because the ball wasn't going into a spot where he had to get to right away. So we tied our aiming point to inside leg of the guard, so it's an A gap to B gap hit for us. We want to really start that thing downhill, get the safety to panic and have to come down, and get that sandbacker have to fit in early. And we stress our pulling guard to not get spilled. Dig out that plus guy you're pulling for so the defense is two in the same gap fit. Okay, so here's just a couple examples from a couple years ago and one from this year of why we coach the guys not to get spilled by these guys. So again, like here we're running B gap to C gap power. We're getting penetration up. So these are bad clips. Okay. Again, where's that extra fitter? With Duquesne, their rover safety was usually hanging around the box. He's able to easily make this play. Again, not where we want to hit this. Again, so just kind of go through some of these a little quick. Again, heavier set. Again, can argue not great formation, we should leave the corner unblocked. But again, just from a study standpoint, and we kept watching this, the back's leaving too early, but he was being taught back then, follow the pulling guard, he'll make you right. But this guy's doing his job, it's a free hitter. So again, not a good play. Same thing here with wide stuff. So this is a positive play. Again, the safety takes a poor angle. We get great movement on the deuce for our young guys. We're wide pulling the guard to get around. But again, from a matchup standpoint, that guy can be a little bit slower to play this. And like right now, the quarterback's thinking his bang route, he's not going to do, he's going to hand it off. If you're playing against a good team with good safety, this guy's going to go play both. And then same thing. So kind of like, again, the evolution for us, and this was this past year, and this is a perfect example of getting spilled to your overhang guy. Like a mentality thing, this is a bad job by us. I'll talk about the guard in a second. I'm happy with the guard here, but I'll talk about that more in a second. This is what defenses want us to do, to get that extra hat. Now imagine if we clean this up, far back, trusted his path, and we dug this out, it's a touchdown. And this was the play that kind of got me onto it. So this is from 2019. Our back is supposed to be hitting this thing here, linking up with his puller, and he just hits it tight. And I remember watching this on the field film and being like, there's the extra guy, we're RPOing him half the time, or we're blocking him. But again, the quarterback's mentality is this guy he's not really moving, so I'm going to hand it off, but he's close enough to play this. So we just hit it tight. We started adjusting this late in the year, and that's kind of like the evolution for us, going into the offseason. So when we go into it power, again, we want to hit inside leg of the guard to B gap. Okay? We're going to press this thing downhill. We want to get vertical movement to the point. We want to pull for the plus. We're always leading two. Okay? Couple clips of it. Good hit here, so this is 11 personnel power. We do differentiate that, like our guys do know when it's 11 and 12. It's very important for them to know that in terms of front side combos, in terms of do I need to open pull versus an extra hat if it's 11 personnel, or if it's 12 personnel, no, the extra fullback we have here has got that. So we spent a lot of time talking about that. But it's a good job here. We got our deuce block here, we got back block, pull for the point. Again, we are trying to knock that hip. So like Kyle is grabbing and lifting this. Tackle's doing a good job getting the second level. Love the aiming point in the back here. He's aiming inside, probably a little loose to start. Pressing it tight, and then we're hitting this inside. It's a really good hit by Dan. Again, target point for that tackle, destroy that hip. Technique for the center, we want to have our hat on that near shoulder. So my hat should be fitting in that V of the neck for him right over here. My near hand should be inside his pec, and then my far hand, so the hand away from him, the nose guard, we tell him that's your catch hand. So you can grab that. They're not going to call a hold on that. The ref is hardly ever watching that. You're not at the point of attack. So we tell them, in case that nose shoots across base, you can catch that and turn that into a vertical block just to clamp it back down to you. So that's a good job by Andrew. He's grabbing that shoulder, he's just squeezing. Great hit by the back. Same mentality, so it's power right. 9 technique will base, C-gap defender will down block. Again, this is back when we were skip pulling, we started adjusting, telling our back to hit this thing a little bit tighter. Again, the safety makes this play, but this is a run that we really like. If we get more movement on our down block up to the backer, we feel like Dan's going to be able to make this guy miss, or at least run through this tackle. But that's a good hit. That safety has to come down. It's going to open up the bang route later. And then kind of, again, we watched this clip already. Okay, mentality for us. Any questions so far, coaches? Making sense? Anybody? Okay. Mentality for us with the pulling guard, he's the cleanup guy. So you're going to see some clips here in a second. What we tell him is, you're reading that tight end's block. So as we're going around, as we're shuffling down the line, the second we see a hole, we're taking it. If the tight end's down blocking a C-gap defender, if he's crushing that thing, you can go around it. If he's struggling, you bang that back out before you ever go to the linebacker. And we've had a lot of good clips of just cleaning up, and I got some of them on here. So again, just power here. So it's, they kick it down. We would treat this as a 4 down. We got an ace to the point. Okay, he calls a tray. So this is an example of just knowing like 11 versus 12 personnel. This is an NA by our guys. He should solo this. We should solo this. We should be pulling for here. He calls a tray because he's worried about the 4-eye going outside. That's got to trigger an open pull call for us. So we would call that a tray long call. So they would scream, hey, tray long, tray long, tray long. The backside guard would know he should be open pulling this. But again, aiming point in the back, he's aiming inside leg of the right guard. Okay, the ace doesn't get to the back, but that's okay. We like to cut on the backside versus 4 eyes, so these guys can't play thick through that B gap. I know that doesn't apply to some states, like I know up north, like a lot of states aren't allowed to cut. But again, I think it's an attitude thing that I think slows these guys down. But the back is always told, you can start A and then go out to B, so this is a good read by him. Another really good look at here, I love this clip. We get a late cut corner. Why the kid is cut corner from off coverage, I don't really know, but I'm not really a defensive coach. I would think he'd want to be a little tired to start. But they cut the corner, they pop the safety out. This is why we tell our back, aim this inside. This is why we tell the guard and the pull, don't allow this guy to spill to the extra hat. That is a low yield tackle. Okay, and if the back's even tighter, if we get better movement than the deuce, it's a non-factor right here. But again, we're just running our RPO bang route. Bang route's killed because of safety coverage. Back hits this thing tight. It's a nice job. Again, deuce to the point. Okay, don't do a good job here by the guard. He gets too narrow on his base. Again, one of the things that we really want to coach on technique-wise with those guys, especially the young guys who really see it happen a lot, is if they take too big of a step, kind of like Coach Richardson was saying, like, you don't want to open that hip. The square that thing stays, the square you are. The death of this double team is when guys step this big step over that midpoint. Just take that thing right through the crotch. But this is good patience. This is an example where the guard right now is saying to himself, and again, I leave it up to them. Okay, tight end's good. I'm going to bypass that and go out. So he goes around that, hits this thing inside out. Great hit by Fabrice, our back. And then from a tackle standpoint, because we focus so much on getting movement on first level guys, we call this U and out the second level defender. So it literally looks like a U. So when you watch Trevor get the right tackle, as he's going down, as these guys scrape over top, let him do it. Like, you let them use that job against him. Just literally take his block, and if he wants to scrape, just turn around and run the sideline. You're making your job so much easier as an offensive line. So we talk about U and out defenders. Same here, just motion in. So we go power right. Again, just read RPO read. Okay, safety's bailing. Again, not great defense. Cut corner. Okay, for us in our run game, we will RPO everything in the run game. The second any defender adds in center defender, we're looking for our RPO read. We'll always have a pre-snap side and a post-snap read. So in this case right here, this is his now side. He's seeing 3/2. He's like, I'm good. Probably could maybe force the issue, but right decision. So his mindset is, I'm going to my post-snap RPO. Okay, has it, take it. So you got to live with it sometimes. I know, like Coach Roller Alabama A&M, right? I know we all get frustrated with it when you know that they just handed off of the extra defender's probably not going to get there, but it is what. But really good look here again. Pick up, put down. Okay, Brett likes to use his hands, so he grabs this guy and he torques him inside. Okay, really good job by Trevor shoving the hip. And again, you him out. As this linebacker comes downhill, if he wants to scrape, hit him, turn him out. Because what you'll find a lot of times is that ball's handed off, it's going to hit inside. The pulling guard, again, is being patient. He sees tight end crush us down. I would love to see tight end just finish this a little bit better. So he's pulling around. Again, don't get spilled. If this ball is handed off, the extra fitter is going to be outside that linebacker. You want the ball to hit inside out of your pull. So. Good look here, okay? Again, just throwing RPO versus cut corner. This is a game plan adjustment. Usually we would not throw the bang if it's match coverage, but these guys just bailed so deep, so we knew that we would still have it. Again, not taking the now stuff. This is a great example of pulling guard, reading this. Leakage, go take that. I would rather have the linebacker make the play than the DN. Go block the C-gap defenders. This is a great job by the right guard here. Okay, bad job by, again, when we talk about technique-wise, too big of a drop step. Again, he's not stepping through the crotch of the defender, he's stepping underneath himself. It's the quickest way to get knocked off his block. Any questions, guys? Go ahead, Coach.
What's your thought process when you guys are playing a high team with a 4-eye or a 1-9? Are you veering on the side of the long call out of left? It's not a great look, obviously.
Yep.
On the long call, or are you going to man on outside?
Great question. No, go ahead.
And then how do you teach a tackle if you're going man on, man outside?
Yeah. So there's three things we do against that, Coach. First, I'm probably going to run more counter.
Right.
And then, obviously, what I'm going to look at with the counter, I'm going to look at if arcing out solves the issue more than down blocking him. With the power, if they are a team where they loop him out a lot, we're going to trade that. And the tight end's going to come down. We're going to try to just destroy that thing down and kick out and create a surface there. If they're a match team where he's just trying to hold that gap, we're going to solo that. And we're just going to tell the back that your hit's probably going to be between him and the tight end. So it really depends on the technique they're playing.
When you solo, what do you tell the tackle?
Yep. That is no different than if it was inside zone like a guard versus 2 wide. I'm just going to take my inside foot on right tackle. I'm just going to drop step, and I'm going to go drive block that thing. I'm going to try to torque it into the B gap. I'm not worried about the ball supposed to hit there. We're anticipating if we run power that the ball's going to hit a little bit wider with that. But we're just trying to crush that down as much as possible. That's just inside zone drive blocking for us. Here's a good example. So like here again, I'm not going to put good cut-ups up. The pulling guard here, he pulls. We get serious leakage here by the tight end. We tell that guy, just clean it up. Get us back to 1 positive yard. So he does a great job here. There's 2 clips in this game that I love, with this being one. So we deuce this. We're soloing by the center. Again, he sees the leakage. He hits this, knocks it back, and then just forces his way up, finds second level, winds up being an 8-yard gain. So again, we're trying to cram this. The back knows there's extra hats outside. This is a good job by him. Good finish by our tight end. Gets beat initially, has an awesome finish. And by the center. Great job by both those guys. Just driving. Same thing here. So again, just running power here. So again, with this front, this just triggers a down call because of the A-gap, B-gap defenders who are down. So again, the guard here is open pulling. He could still sickle this. He mis-IDs this. He should not be open pulling this, but it's a good job hitting this. We're a man short, so we're going to the RPO right now. Not a good job by the back block. When you get this tight shade look, we tell this center, this would be like we call it brace pop. He should literally just plant, lift into that shade and hold space in case this guy goes over top. If he goes up the field, you just come off late and knock this back. But he shouldn't be flying out here like this. Good job by our quarterback. Any questions, coaches? I know that beer's in everyone's head, right? It sounds pretty good right now. Trust me, I get it. Okay, so this is a good example, like, of why, again, we don't want to get spilled. Like, this is a perfect example. So the deuce block, I would tell the guard here, so like, coach, kind of like what you were saying about like the tackle on a 4-eye, he should be treating this like inside zone. And any leakage by this guy late will be picked up by a tackle. He's going way too far down to me, you know, and which allows us to get a little bit of separation here. The tackle does a good job cleaning it up. But this pulling guard right now has to force himself inside out. If we hit this right here, it's touchdown. At the very least, 15-yard gain. But now we're getting spilled with safety. And that is such a big study for us. It's such a big coaching point with this play, and kind of how we run it. This is another perfect example. So again, really bad by the tight end. Pulling guard here, to me, is completely wrong. He should be hitting, this is like as clear leakage as possible. Go blow that up. And at the very least, we'll bounce it for a 1-yard gain. This winds up being a good play because it's a bad defense. And it's great on the stat sheet. It's great for, you know, for the first down, all that. But to me, this is not a good play. But I'll take it. I'm going to try to go through a couple more of these, so I can get to some of the other stuff, because I know I have 15 minutes left. Obviously, I put way too many clips up. Give me 1 second, coaches. There's one clip specifically I want to show. Right here. Just another good look at the guard cleaning up and why I love this pull. So we get X-Fire right now. So linebacker comes right now. Pulling guard pulls. He immediately is saying to himself, I've got to take this right now. So he immediately plants and he attacks this. The guard whose eyes should be on that guy, he sees it late, he winds up replacing, winds up being a great play by our back for a touchdown. So again, one of the reasons why I love this is just the nature of how square you stay on this play. Good shuffle by Carlos. Good job getting vertical right here. It's a hell of a job by him. And then just a couple clips of 12 personnel. Again, just how we would do this. So like right here, right now, the biggest coaching point is just them simply understanding the picture. So like right now in this case, if this guy were to be walked up, we're good. You don't need to make a long call because we have the numbers. And that's why we differentiate. We don't just tell them it's power, we tell them it's 12 personnel power. If this is 11, if he's not here, they would have to know, well, see, you got a defender, we've got to pull for that. So that's just important to know with that. So we don't do a great job here. It's a good job on the down block. He loses it late. Good job on the tackle taking this. Love to see tight end climb quicker. Pulling guard get around us. We should be up a man here. It's a poor job by us. Good look here. Again, just the guard kind of reading the block. He sees it as tight end is good. I would not have been upset. When in doubt, what I tell him is just cram it in there. Like, get in way tighter than that. Like, go in there and make that right. And that's something, you know, again, last year's our first year running this a little bit tighter. He goes around this. It's good hit by the back, but again, it should just be way tighter. Great job again. So again, like with Jermichael, this is a much better job footwork. Treat this like inside zone, backside. Quick 2 steps, and he's grabbing and tearing this. Again, using the hands. Again, this is what we mean by the tackle, hewing it out. Just turn and run it out. Good hit by the back. "12 personnel again, and here, you know, again, cannot happen the leakage. You know, that's why this play bounces. But this, again, where we want this to hit, we want this to hit right down here. So we got to be firmer here on the back block by the center. Again, it's why like that hand, big coaching point. Why I love to show this clip and install in the summer. We'll watch this next week. We go over power. Both his hands are inside this guy. On the back block, you don't need that. It's not zone. His right hand should be on the outside here as your clamp hand. Just hold him in there and pin him. Okay, you don't need to do that, and that's how it gets bounced here. That and the tackle. Again, just a little bit more up here. I'm going to go into the power read stuff unless guys have some more questions. So we got about 10 minutes left. Go ahead, Coach.
Whenever you want to get to the underfront with that backside three, do you ever have your backside tackle help or chill or something?
Yes, and I've also got something I'm going to show you at the end that with that too. But yes, we'll make a tackle call with that. But it's something that we experimented on this spring. I'll show you in a minute. So I know I got 10 minutes, so yeah, just enough time. Good job on the deuce again, good pull, nice job on the bang round. This is one of those ones, like when you hit this right, you know, stuff we will do too, if we know these guys are like read defenders, if we know like they like to match this, we'll arc these guys out for overhangs, insert with fullback. We'll do a bunch of different stuff with this to kind of change those services based on what guys do. So this play would have been good if we probably should have handed this one off. He's reading this as safety down, but he lives with it. It's a good, nice throw, so. Okay. Real quick, two clips of this, or a few clips of this, the power read. So we have two types of run power read. We have more traditional, like, you know, everyone does, where we will read play side C-gap defender. How many guys run this? Right, it's great. If you do this off of this, it's awesome if you mirror this with counter to where it's GT, you know, if you mirror this with GT counter bash coming back to the field, which we like to do. Again, it's a good job here. Same mentality. This is from a couple years ago. So we actually didn't run this past year. But again, good skip pull, insert up there, great perimeter blocking, get our best athletes against their worst athletes. Nothing different front side, we're leaving two, the read and the guy we're pulling for. Again, from a matchup standpoint, so Duquesne had, how many guys watched, give me a second. How many guys watched Last Chance U? You guys remember the season where the D lineman got in a fight with the coach at East Mississippi? He was at Penn State, Pittsburgh. He wound up here at Duquesne for his last year. The kid was a great player. And so like, this is a freshman guard, and so this is an example of like literally telling the guy, the whole game I told him, I said, Mike, just don't take big steps. Like, it doesn't matter if you get any movement on a guy, like just put your foot right in the ground right now and just root yourself. And this is a great example of what we mean by that. Like sometimes you don't, he's flinching, it should have a false start because he's shitting his pants, probably my language coach. But like right here, like put that foot in the ground, don't even move. Don't go far, let the tackle come do the work for you. So it's a really good job in the perimeter blocking by our guys. That's my dad and mom right there. You know, my dad's thrilled. He wishes he could watch every game with a hot cup of cocoa. My mom drags him all these poor games, poor dad. So what we did this year, which I really loved as an adjustment, was going against teams. So like, we're big RPO. Sacred Heart, their DC, Mike Cook, does a phenomenal job. They'll do everything in their power to jack you up at receiver. They have better athletes. They're going to play cover one, they're going to play cover zero, they're going to do everything possible to give you a different picture. So what we wound up doing just as an adjustment on power was we lined up in our traditional power sets and we ran against them, but we just read the backside defender like zone read. And it was an awesome adjustment for us. It was something they weren't expecting. We did it a few times over the year. This is not a cleanly blocked play at all on the front side. They're bringing a lot of people into the box. And it's an awesome adjustment that I thought was something pretty cool that we hadn't done before.
You probably would try personnel to avoid this situation, but if you get like a 3 on that backside and you're trying to run it like this, how do you?
Great question. So right now, Coach, if let's say this linebacker is back here in normal position, with this picture right now, he would block this and he would rip right down and go take him. With a 3 technique backside, we had a tackle cut him. Yeah, we just cut him right now. Yeah. I think I got that on here, the next clip.
Is the center still going back to him?
Nope, it becomes like duo. They should combo right to that backer. So like right here, we do the same thing. So these guys are comboing. You know, then he messes, the right tackle messes up. This should be an ace, and it should be a tray right now. And he should be solo, we should be pulling for safety. We kind of put this in the middle of the week. You just try and find a way to be able to run the ball. It wound up being really good for us. But yeah, you know, it was awesome. It's a lot of bodies on the ground, but it wound up winning this game. We had about 100 yards rushing just off of this play. in the game. So just a good, cool little adjustment to do with it. Same thing here. So we're running power. He's cutting that 3. We're reading backside. Prize score here. Great freaking tackle by this safety. Unbelievable job. And same thing. We messed this one up. So here's an example of backside shade. He's going right now for this. Back does a good job down. Probably cram it in there. Prefer you cram it in there right there, but okay, give him 5 minutes. So just a couple clips from the spring, and then we'll finish up. Just kind of see, this is from this past spring from a couple months ago. I know I got 5 minutes left, so I'll just show it. Just so you kind of see some of the adjustments. This is our young crew, it's mostly all the freshmen. So again, just kind of show you why we do the angle drive, and you can see what our D-line is trying to do. This tackle's got to run off the ball a lot faster than this. He's kind of waiting for this to happen. But just the pace is getting better. We're being a little bit slower, a little bit more deliberate. And again, from an aim and point perspective of where we want to hit this, back's just got to run this right now. Tight end's got to finish. And our D-line coach has got to get the hell out of the box too. For all you D-line guys that may be in here. Okay, same thing here. Again, our mentality, like kind of the spring, is we want to over-cram this thing. We want to get inside as much as possible. That was a big, big thing for us this spring. My fault. It's kind of overemphasized, just force it in there. We want to hit this thing even tighter this year. So, again, good patience, good movement on the deuce, not good job by the tackle on the second level. Leakage, go hit that thing. Okay. Okay, for coach, you had asked about the backside 3. We do this on counter, and we started doing this in power. It's a little different. Our guys loved it. We had one clip where we accidentally did it last year. I remember, like, the guy who worked with me at the O-line, Derek, was like, I think our center just pulled, and I was like, no, dude, it's power. Like, there's no way our center freaking pulled. And I'm watching the film that night, and I'm like, holy hell, our center pulled. And so this is just something we did for fun. The guys absolutely love it. The biggest difference is you really can't give that much help to this, so it does widen it, but it's something we are going to do against teams that play with the super wide 3. And the thing I love about it is it just becomes 2 base blocks. So, and obviously I'm jacked up here because I wanted him to hit this inside. Like, I got really excited. But I thought this was an awesome adjustment. It's just something kind of cool that we do. They don't help themselves here. They're way too tight to each other. But again, great job by the right tackle, great job by the guard, hitting this thing. It's a great freaking hit. Again, getting juiced up. So it's something we're going to carry this year. We're going to see how it goes. I love it. But yeah, so I know we got 2 minutes left, so I'm just going to finish up here, guys. And I'll send it. I know Coach is going to have this in drive. If anybody wants to send it. Guys, just put this up here. 4.4 is not super great. For power, we were like 6.8. Counter, I think we were like 7. We RPO everything, so we're going to put the ball where we need to put the ball. The reason why I put this up here, with our O-linemen, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Wisconsin. 2 of my other starters were from Florida. I had a guy from Texas start. And my point is, we scored a lot of points last year. Our yards per game wasn't great. It was first in our league, which shows you how bad the offensive football probably was, more than how good we were. But 250 first downs, we were top 15, I believe, in the nation with that. We play very balanced offense. And my point with all this is, we will recruit O-linemen from the entire country. So if you have a young man from Alabama, if you're here from Georgia, Tennessee, we will take O-linemen from anywhere. So please, I'm going to put my contact information up here. Send them to me. I got guys from 14 different states, I think, on the O-line or something like that. Between the O-line and the tight ends. So we're going to take guys from all over. And then we're going to take care of young men. We're top 16 in Division I AA. And in all Division I, 22nd in the nation in academics in terms of our graduation rate. We're going to take care of your guys. So if you've got guys that you think would love to come play football in the Northeast, let us know. We got a great spot, Bryant. Would love to have you guys come up and see us. We're going to be down this way a lot more. We moved to the Big South Conference, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right, when you think about geography, but that's the nature of college football now. But we're going to play a lot of games in Tennessee and the Carolinas. And then here's my contact information. We got a special place. If you ever are up in the Northeast, come to Rhode Island. Our practices are open, our doors are open. I love talking ball. It's kind of like what I'm addicted to. I'll make sure you guys come up. I'll take care of you. We'll go out and get some New England seafood. I'm from down south originally, North Carolina, so the food up there is incredible. Guys, really appreciate y'all having me, man. Thank you.